What are you doing? Playing Space Invaders?
No, it just popped up.
That was quiet. Can we keep it quiet
Brilliant.
then? Hold on. God.
Right then, I think we are live on our channel. A couple of minutes late. Sorry about that. And we're missing Sean at the moment. A couple of technical difficulties. He is going to join us. We're just trying to get him online, and he'll be with us. Before we start this week, of course, Sean is going to join us. We've got Michael Bowers. We got the Mad Mistake. We got Dino, and it was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Jacob Kirkbride. Happy birthday! Woo!
Cheers, lads.
All right, top man.
24, great age.
Meant. So this week then, a few things we want to discuss. Don't forget, you can get yourselves involved by using the live chat. I still haven't got it on my screen somewhere yet, but here we go. There you go. So if you want to join in with the live chat, please do so, and we're trying to include you in the show as well. I want to start, before we start, last Thursday was the eve of the fixtures coming out, and we all had a stab at who was going to be the first game of the season. Michael Bowers said, do you know what you said?
MK Dons at home, I believe.
The MK Dons.
Probably wrong.
Sean said Fleetwood. Jacob, do you know what you said?
Charlton.
Charlton Athletic. The Mad Mistake said?
Oxford.
Oxford. All right. Dino, who did you say?
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. All right. And I said Swindon Town. And lo and behold, we was all wrong. However, I do want to give a mention to it's Bobby Cowley who predicted Bristol Rovers. And so well done to you, because it is Bristol Rovers at home. First game of the season. Well done. It's Bobby Cowley. And what we will be doing on probably the Thursday before we play Bristol Rovers, we have one Rovers Vlogs who watches the show. So we're going to get him on as a guest, and we'll do a little preview of the game that's going to be coming up. So since last week, some new signings, couple of new signings. Remy Matthews, the goalkeeper, and the defender, Morgan Feeney. Your thoughts on that then? Dino?
Don't really know much about them. Obviously, Remy came from Bolton. I'm not being funny, Bolton did go down, so that's never a good sign when you're the number one keeper and you end up going down. But we all know Bolton was in a bad situation, but everyone's going off the fact he had one good game against Sunderland where he kept us out the whole game. But does that make you a good goalkeeper? We've obviously seen what he done in the friendly against Carlisle, so it's early signs, but it's not great. Morgan Feeney, probably a backup, I'm guessing. He looked all right. He's looked all right in what I've seen of him. Looks a bit pacey. Looks like he's all right on the ball. And was them the only two signings we made?
In the last week or so, yes.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not great. Obviously, we all expected like a Madison or like someone like a bit higher quality maybe, but they'll have to do for now. They've got to get gelled in with the team, and hopefully they'll have good seasons.
Right, fair enough. Mad Mistake?
Well, I think Morgan Feeney could actually be a decent signing. 20-year-old, untapped potential. He got captaincy material when he was at Everton. I think in the under 23s or under 20s. He looked really good against Carlisle in the first half. Played in, I think, the same position as Bailey Wright played in. He looked pacey. He looked confident on the ball. He did his defensive duties really well, and I thought he had a good 60 minutes that he was on. Matthews. Again, we saw the mistake Matthews made against Carlisle. We're not going to linger too long on that. Apart from that, Matthews didn't put a foot wrong, to be fair. I thought his distribution wasn't too bad, even though people were saying he's not very good with his distribution. I thought it wasn't too bad on the day. But again, it was only against Carlisle, so we can't judge the players and say they're going to be class with after one game. But out of the two of them, I'm more happy with Feeney.
Michael?
Before I start, I wanted to sort of surprise someone with a shout out here. Now I know I'm going to get this name wrong, so apologies in advance. but her name on Twitter is Acacia Cameron Jude. Basically, she's a top Sunderland fan. She's interacted with me and Sean in particular. I can't speak for the rest of the guys, but for me and Sean in particular, she's interacted with us loads. One of the more kindest souls from what I mean, obviously I haven't personally met her, but on the internet, when the internet can be full of trolls and not so nice people, she's pretty much the opposite. She seems to be one of the most lovely people I've come across. And she doesn't have to be this kind, by the way, but top Sunderland fan, and hope you're watching. And there you go. That was a shout out I wanted to surprise you with.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Anybody who's a fan of the show, we obviously massive respect to them and deserve a shout out. Well done, Michael.
Exactly. Thank you. But anyway, on to the question. I think Morgan Feeney's a sensible signing in the respect that the salary cap obviously has hindered a lot of what we were wanting to bring in. And with Morgan Feeney, I think he's 21 years old. And I think the players 21 and under don't count towards the cap with wages. So for me, that's a sensible signing. I think needed another centre back in. So fair and fair dues. It's a short-term deal, so I don't know exactly how long it's for, but I would imagine it's just for a few months. Remy Matthews. Remy Matthews. Obviously, I was actually quite pleased with Remy Matthews coming in, but I'm basing it purely off one of the guys at Talk Norwich City, because it's another YouTube channel I watch, and they were rating him quite highly, even though he left them a couple of years ago. And the word from Bolton fans is distribution questionable, commanding of his box questionable, but great shot stopper. Well, obviously that wasn't exactly the case against Carlisle, but it's one game. I'm hoping that's just a mistake that he gets out of the way. If he continues that into the league, then of course, Burge is probably going to be playing at the minute anyway. Remy Matthews, but like you say, obviously I know Dino's question about, if you keep a clean sheet against Sunderland, does that make you a good keeper? Obviously, on isolation, no, but considering that he was one of only 2 keepers to keep a clean sheet at the Stadium of Light last year, maybe it was just obviously, and Sunderland, but to be fair, Sunderland were also quite poor going forward that day, so it might be down to that. Saying that, look, early days, I think that we needed squad cover. We've got the goalkeeper. It's good competition, at least for Lee Burge. We'll see how they get on. Hopefully, they both do well for us regardless.
Jacob?
Yeah, I'm excited about Morgan Feeney. I think it now all depends on how Phil Parkinson can improve him as a player, because I think he's still is it 21? Yeah, so it's all about what he does on that. Yeah, he's got experience playing at England youth level. Like Terry said, he's been captain for the Everton under 23 side. But yes, I think it's to fill in the gaps we have in the defence at the moment. But if he can improve over the course of the season, then we may potentially look at maybe even keeping him further. I think it's only on a 6-month deal that we've got him for.
It said term deal, but I would presume it's 6 months or less.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see a lot more of. I liked him in the 2 friendlies. Quick turn of pace, very comfortable on the ball. So good early signs. But hopefully when the season does kick off, we'll see the best of him properly when in the games that do matter. Remy Matthews, I do understand what Dino was saying, that he was part of a Bolton team that went down last season, but I think he was purely brought in to be backup. But Phil Parkinson's worked with him at Bolton before, so hopefully his managerial knowledge working with Remy Matthews will hopefully improve him if he does get a shout in playing over the course of the season. But like I said, I think Lee Burge will still be number 1. But I don't think we're done in the transfer market just yet. But still good, hopefully good signs to come.
Right, just very quickly then. Thomas Garrigan says happy birthday to Jacob. A couple of people asking where Sean is. Sean's arrived. Way!
Oh, come on.
Sean, where we're at, we've just mentioned about the new signings since we were on last week. Remy Matthews, Morgan Feeney. What's your opinion on them?
Well, Remy Matthews, I'm obviously watching the friendly the other day. That was a bit of a bad mistake, but another social media.
A mad mistake was that.
Social media is like quick to criticise, and I think that's one of the downfalls of the club. Like, he's made a mistake, but at the same time, everybody makes mistakes. He's got to get over it, and hopefully he doesn't dwell too much on it. Like, but I think he'd be a decent backup for Lee Burge. And Affini, I've heard good reports about Affini. I think he's highly rated at Everton. So hopefully he can do a job like. But I thought the all played well, to be fair. But the first half, it was I don't know if he's all watching. It was pretty just it's typical pre-season friendly, wasn't it?
It was. We've got another Dan Trend Videos on the chat. Brings up Danny Graham. There is rumours of us, having talks with Danny Graham. So at an advanced stage, I would imagine the fact that, they have said that they have had talks with him. Danny Graham, yes or no? Dino?
No, I mean, we've done the same thing with Grant. We've done the same thing with Grant Ledbetter. We brought him back, hasn't worked out. Why would we bring someone back who only scored 1 goal for it in so many? Was it like 30 odd games or something? Michael probably know. Jake will probably know. But he was piss poor in the Prem. He's 34 years old. I'd rather had Kyle Lafferty than Danny Graham. Let's be fair. So Danny Graham, he's no. I think it'll be a poor signing, and I just think it'll just be another. He's not going to get ahead. He shouldn't get ahead of Will Grigg, and like, who's going to be worse, Wyke or Graham? Like that's the question. Who's the worst striker, Wyke or Graham? That's my opinion.
Well, fair dues, Jacob.
Nah, not for me. I mean, like Dino touched on, he's 34 years of age now. I think we need. The problem when I look at our strikers at the moment, I think we have too many that hold the ball up. We need, if we're going to bring in another striker for the rest of the window, we need someone who's going to run onto the loose balls that are created by the players who provide the knockdowns, someone with a lot more pace and someone who's younger. Danny Graham doesn't do it for me. He still gives me nightmares from his first spell he had when we brought him in, 5 million from Swansea in 2013. Wasn't good enough at the time. He won't be good enough now if we bring him in. I mean, people can say he's got experience and will do it down in the lower leagues, but will he be fit throughout a full season at the age of 34? It's not worth the gamble, to be honest. I think we need to look elsewhere. I think there are many better options out there, to be honest. So, nah, not for me.
Mad mistake.
Well, I agree with the lads. I think it's a big no. It's a big no from me, 34-year-old. I don't like players coming back to the club again after they've been away, unless obviously the Sunderland lads and they've done better and then come back sort of towards the end of the career. But we're dying off for somebody with pace on the side. I mean, I was watching the last couple of matches. Wyke got no pace. Grigg looked slow as anything against Carlisle. And O'Brien, he looks one-paced out. So for me, at this moment in time, I know it's early days, but them 3 don't have any pace about them. So we need somebody with pace. The only person that sort of steamed into the box against Carlisle with a bit of pace was Dan Neil. I thought he had an excellent game against Carlisle.
Yeah,
he had a bit of pace, but we need a striker with a bit of pace. It's going to cost money. I know that's the problem. So I don't know how we're going to get somebody with pace without having to spend a lot of money.
Michael?
I think I'm with the lads that, I mean, I'm less against this signing than what a lot of other people are, because don't get me wrong, he's not my first choice. I'm with Mad Mistake. I would massively prefer we went and got someone with pace, because Danny Graham for me strikes me as someone who's quite similar to the likes of Wyke, even though I actually, to answer Dino's question, like who's worse, Wyke or Graham, just my own opinion, I think Wyke is probably worse. I'd like to think Graham's first touch should be better than Charlie Wyke's, because I'm not criticising Wyke just because he doesn't score goals. I think his first touch is terrible. I think his ability to head the ball is terrible, and obviously in front of goal he's atrocious. I think I'd like to think Graham should be better than that. I think people do need to, and this isn't me having a dig here, but I do think people need to stop with this. Oh, he was rubbish for his first time round, he rubbish second time round. That was in the Premier League when he's up against much tougher opposition. There's a massive difference between that and League One. But in saying that, obviously the counter argument is he'll probably be, well, he's older now. He's going to be at least 3, 4, 5 years older than what he was. I wouldn't be against the signing. I think we could get worse, but at the same time, no. I'm more inclined to go no than yes, because we need someone with pace, and it feels like despite the salary cap, there's bound to be someone out there who's got pace, who might be half decent striker that we could still get. I think so. I don't know. For me, probably no. I wouldn't view it as the end of the world if we did get him, but no, not for me. I think, like I've said, Tyler Walker from Nottingham Forest, who was on loan at Lincoln last year, is my preferential choice. Sean and Dino will know this because they watched him down at Lincoln against Sunderland last year, I think. But obviously, money and wages, that's probably going to be the problem. So that's why we won't get him. But for Graham, nah, not. I mean, as much as I wouldn't be against it, no, not for me.
Sean, Danny Graham?
I'm going to go totally against a lot of you here, and I want to see it about really good signing. I think he'd be better than all the
Everyone's
strikers we've
entitled
got.
to their opinion.
Well, exactly. So I'm not really bothered what you say, to be fair, but like Danny Graham will be a better striker than anybody we have at this club at this precise minute. So he's going to improve. I mean, like Michael said there, in the Premiership, he was pretty poor, but you've got to think that's the Premier League. You're playing against world-class footballers. This is like 2 divisions below.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People's got to be realistic. You know, it's all about opinions, but I think he'd be a really good signing. I know he hasn't got any pace, but I'll tell you something now, but he gets 20 plus goals in that division. Easy.
Oh, that's
I
a
bet anybody.
statement. That's a statement.
Dino's
know.
trying to get in.
Dino.
Dino.
Can anyone pop up his stats of what he's done in the? Because I'm sure he's at Blackburn now, isn't he? Or he was in the Championship with
Yeah.
somebody.
Summer.
If
Yes,
anyone
yes,
can get his
yes.
stats up just to see what he's been like in the Championship, and then you can go from there. Really.
Well, the only thing for me is, I mean, I would have said a definite no. However, point Sean makes is, you know, he's not been very good in the upper leagues, if you like, but we're talking League One. And you know what, it's like some strikers, you know, get to a level and they're brilliant in those leagues. And then once they move up, are not very good. So it is a bit up in the air. Couple of things before we move on. Go on then, Terry, quickly.
For Blackburn, he's played 158 matches and scored 45 goals.
So it's
That's not
basically
bad. That's not bad.
then.
One in
He's
three.
35, not 34.
That's not a bad return, to be honest, is it?
That's in the Championship
One in
as well. Terry.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty sure
captain.
it's in the
In
Championship.
4 years in the Championship, 27 goals though.
Yeah, but Jacob, we're not in the Championship. We're in League One.
Right, so I'm saying
Aye,
it's
but
in League One.
don't forget.
Anyway.
Don't
That's-
forget. Do we play? Will we play to his strengths? Probably not.
No.
I mean, we've got a goal scorer there who can get you 30 goals plus, but he can't get a goal. So it doesn't matter how many goals he scored. Are we going to play to suit Graham? Probably not.
All right. Quickly before we move on, shout out to Reese William. There says William Story basically admitting defeat. Obviously, that's someone that's been on the social media, which we might broach in a bit. Thane SCFC. Matthews apparently kept nearly 10 clean sheets for the worst team in the league. Surely, you know, he must have something about him, which is a fair point. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pass it to Sean, because last week you had quite a few people wanting questions, but because of how the show panned out, we didn't sort of get them in. So if we want to do some of them for a bit, and then you can then we can answer people's questions.
There was also questions in the link. When I put a link into on Twitter, but obviously I'm using my phone because for some reason the laptop's not working. So I'll just have to ask the questions off last week. But if any of you can look on the links to the other, I think there's a couple of questions in there. Right. Anyway, this is off Jack Moyes of Twitter.
Not David
He said-
Son, is it?
Oh God. Real story.
He said, which striker would you play up front? Would you play a 2 up front? And what formation? Mike, I'll let you kick that one off.
Right, hang on. So he's asking what formation would I play and how many strikers I would play up front.
Yeah, how many strikers, what formation, and how many would you play up front? Just quickly.
Okay, I'd probably stick with the formation we have, 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, whatever variant you want to go with. It's a difficult one, this. Okay, I'd probably stick with one of O'Brien or Grigg up top. I couldn't tell you which one at the moment. I think it's a toss of a coin. White for me, like I've said countless times, should be nowhere near the starting 11. But Parkinson probably will start him. I don't know. 3-4-3. Grigg or O'Brien up front. Maybe one coming off the bench, the other in a game or something. I don't know.
Jacob?
In terms of the formation we've been playing at the moment, or what we were playing towards the end of last season, and with the current squad we've got, I would tweak it slightly. I would go for a 3-4-1-2. So I would play Maguire just in behind in the number 10 role. And from what we've currently got, I would play O'Brien alongside Grigg. But I do think we need a striker with a lot more pace that's going to knock either O'Brien or Grigg out of the team. One of them will get dropped.
Good point, Jacob. Good point. Dino?
Probably keep the same formation, just with that's what we used to. Up front, probably Grigg, because I don't trust Wyke to get in positions to score goals, even though he did score 2 against Carlisle, but that's by the by. If and I feel like Griggs probably got more about him than Aidan O'Brien up front. So probably Grigg. I think if Grigg's going to score goals, it's going to have to be this season, or it's going to be a waste of 4 million, really.
Has to be.
My mistake.
Right, so at the moment, he's not going to change his formation. Is it 3-5-2 or is it 3-4-3?
3-4-3.
3-4-3.
3-4-3.
Because I couldn't see what was happening the other day. I mean, for me, when I was playing against Carlisle, he was playing Will Grigg. Will Grigg was going to the right all the time. He was going to trying to find the ball. He was absolutely non-existent, pointless doing that, going to the right-hand side and being like not even in the penalty box. That was a waste of time. I'd personally go 4-3-3. I think we've got two decent centre-backs who's strong enough to hold the back line in Bailey Wright and Jordan Willis to not go with the wing-back system, but obviously he's never going to do that. He's going to go with his 4-3-3. So we're going to have to probably go with, I don't think Grigg or Wyke at this moment in time, what I've seen so far is the answer at all. They're both slow, they're both pedestrian. O'Brien looks slow at the moment. I know it's early days and they've got a lot more time to get fitter. And I just at the moment, I think it looks awful. I just think it looks awful. And I think we need, like I say, a striker with pace or something different, because the only time we look like scoring is when we play against a knackered side and we bring 10 players on in the second half. So we brought 10 players on against Carlisle, 60 minutes. Then we took the game apart. We were playing against a side that's knackered. When we start off at the beginning against a side like Gateshead or Carlisle, we could barely create a chance. So I'm baffled at the moment. I want to see something different against Harrogate on Saturday. I want to see the team that starts actually trying to dominate the game and score some goals. Otherwise, it's going to be all doom and gloom.
We were terrible first half, like I must admit. I mean, you had 10 changes, and I mean, when you made the changes, we just looked a different side, didn't we? But anyway,
but again, any side will look a different side, bringing 10 fresh pairs of legs on.
We haven't played football for 4 to 5 months, there, have we? It's all about finding the right.
You could tell, like
that's the only saving grace. That's the only saving grace. The benefit of the doubt. And hopefully they're just rusty, and they'll get this sorted out. But at the moment, our strikers don't look very good. That's all I'm going to say.
Philly, what's your opinions on that? Yeah.
For me, I'm not bothered about formation so long as we've got 2 wingers, and I'd like 2 strikers. So I'm not whatever you want. I love wingers and I love 2 strikers.
You're an old school 4-4-2 man.
So well, I am. It's my age in it, but I mean, Grigg definitely up front for me. I think he should start. I think it could be his season with one other. So whoever that be. But I think the thing is doesn't matter who you got up top, you've got to get service into them. So and it's as simple as that for me. So that's my half-baked answer for you.
Well, I've got a feeling, right, that Will Grigg's it's going to be a good season for them this season, and I'm putting it on the line here because it hasn't been great for him. But I've just got a feeling this season he's going to get the goals for us. But I still would like us to get another striker. But I will go with Will Grigg. I'll put the faith in him. You never know. Charlie White might surprise us. I mean,
fingers crossed.
And he's got a couple of goals on the pre-season, like, but he's got his critics like Charlie White, but rightly so, to be fair. I mean, but it's a new season, new start. Hopefully, he can hit the ground running as this year.
I'd love to know the odds on Will Grigg being top scorer by the end of the season.
You quit on.
Bad mistakes trying to get in there.
Sean, what was your opinion on Will Grigg against Carlisle? He was always on the right-hand side. For me, he should be in the penalty spot, shouldn't he?
I know it was a bit strange, wasn't it?
Why is he going searching for the ball all the time?
And I just watching that game. It was like, I mean, even the Gateshead game. I know I scored 3 goals, but it was so like we're lacking quality, aren't we? Really badly. Like, and I mean, I'm just hoping that Scowen's gonna, like, Josh Scowen. I'm just hoping he's gonna have a good season, because I have just got no faith in Max Power. Like, sorry, Michael. I just can't get away with it at all. I can't. I just don't know what he offers to the team. He just comes missing too much. And central midfielders, you're like one of your captain as well. It's a massive position on the field. And I've got a feeling that's if he's going to be the captain as well. That's for me. It's Parkinson's. He's had a good few months now to see who can be captain, who's his best players. And if he picks Max Power, I'm going to be straight away. I'm going to be like,
George Dobson.
Does it depend who plays alongside Power?
One at a time.
See that,
Right,
Michael?
Michael.
Right. Hang on, Sean. So if Parkinson picked Dobson, would you give him the same amount of stick you give Power?
If he picks Dobson as captain,
No, I mean like him to go alongside Scowen, assuming we're playing like them two as midfield with the wing backs either side of them.
would I give Dobson as much stick as
Same
well as
amount
Power?
of stick that you give Power.
Well, no, because Dobson. When I watch Dobson, he just put a shift in. He grafts and runs around. He does. I mean, Max Power for me, he's the forgotten man. I just never know what he does and where he is on the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like Dobson, he does run around and he does put a shift in me. I thought, and we're never going to agree on Power, like, but I'm talking.
No, I think you tend to give Power a lot of the stick when I think it's not all on him to.
No,
Try and
Michael, that's just my opinion, mate. And the DSA.
No, that's fair enough. I'm just trying
Right.
to say, I think that, like I've said to you countless times, I think not every single midfielder has to go forward and skin 5 players and ping one in the top corner.
I mean, but
There's a lot of players
that's
who
true.
do different
But
roles in the side.
would you not play Dobson? Don't play Dobson in the power role and give Scowen and let Scowen bring the ball out. But Scowen looks like he's got a little bit something about him. I think.
Well,
Scowen,
Pulsar,
you know what I mean?
he starts Scowen. I think Dobson tends to go missing as much as what you think Power does. I don't think Dobson's miles better than him.
Just very quick, Jacob's trying to get in there.
One thing I liked about Scowen in the last 2 games, every time he finds a bit of space outside the box, he's always looking to take a shot. If Max Power was in that area last season, he would always try and like square it to the wingers. But I think then again, we go back to Power being playing too deep. Should we play Power further up the pitch?
Michael?
What I was going to say in response to that, right? You answered the question about who I play alongside him. Neither Dobson, as much as I like Power, I wouldn't. He's not in my starting 11. I'll put Embleton in. Embleton alongside Scowen. I think it's a completely different thing to and especially if we're saying we want a creative midfielder, chances are the level of quality we're going to want, we probably won't afford because of this stupid bloody salary cap. So why Embleton? Why this could be the making of Elliot Embleton as a player?
I feel sorry for. He's just so unlucky with injuries, that lad, though, isn't he? He came off against Gateshead.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's not the next Duncan Watmore in that respect. I'm hoping he's not.
Mad Mistake want to be in there?
I would play Scowen and Power together in the centre midfield, but I would drop Power from the captaincy, and I would also play Embleton just in front of the two. Give him a free run.
Right, quickly before we move on to the next bit, Sean, I want to give a shout out to some people on the live chat. We mentioned somebody mentioned about William Story. Liam SAFC has said William Story's admitted defeat on Twitter, basically saying that FPP are in the front running and they look likely to pay off for them. Malcolm Tweets has put people on Twitter suggesting Stuart Donald is going to try and hold out for another season before selling us, but he can't see how he's going to be able to afford to do that without defaulting on the FPP loan. Well, go on, I'll scan through more. And Sean, if you want to carry on.
I was going to mention the question of Dano73. He basically says, that was last week, if William Story did get the club, did become the new owner, how do you think it could win over the fans? I mean, it's looking, and I seen his tweet earlier on, and it did come across like he was fighting as if it's a losing battle. He looks like he's sort of resigning the fact that the 3 guys who we discussed last week are going to be taking over the club.
Well, can I quickly jump in with that, where you say about if William Story did end up buying the club, how's he going to win everybody over? It's not just unlike the information we put out last week, which obviously we're privy to, and it's one of those things that we took a lot of stick for it on the social media, and people saying, "Oh, we just put that information out to get more subscribers and followers and all."
Which was bollocks.
Which was total nonsense. All we did, we're a Sunderland fan channel, and if we come across some information which we believe has substance, we've got two choices. We put it out there to the Sunderland fans.
Exactly.
We're not saying, believe this. We're telling you what we believe to be true, and then it's up to you to decide whether you want to believe it or you don't believe it, or we just stay quiet and we say nothing, and we have we're still getting information and that, but we'll only put out information to you lot when we believe, you know, it holds water, so to speak. So like I said, we took a lot of flack for it, and all we was doing, we was giving you some information and saying it's up to you, you know, you're entitled to your own opinion whether you believe it or not. And I thought we got a lot of unfair flack.
I was discussing that. I mean, we did. I mean, like on Thursday night. I mean, you know, Twitter can be a quite poisonous place. I mean, me and you, Philly, we got rectified. We got really badly.
Yeah, but everybody hates me though, Sean.
We just got some stick. I mean, Michael. I think Michael got joined as well. And I mean, there was some unfair comments and stuff. But like as you just said there, you know, we just released what we were told. And you know what I mean? I was just like, people saying, "Oh, he's a full of crap, this, that, and the other." Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see.
Personally, I think it looks really bad on like our fan base when like our fans are like turning on each other just because of like opinions they have. Like we should be purely just focusing on what's happening at our club right now, and just like we're all in this as one together. Doesn't matter what platform you're on.
Mad Mistake first, and then Mike will get in.
At the end of the day, we're all Sunderland fans. We all want the best for Sunderland Association Football Club, want the best for the city. We all want to succeed. Nobody wants Sunderland to fail. Nobody wants somebody to come in and to fail at the club. Any player that comes at the club, we want the players to succeed. We'll back all the players that come in. We'll back the new owners that come in. We're not going to lie about certain things. We all want, as Sunderland fans, regardless what platform you're on, regardless what fan group we're in, we all want Sunderland to succeed first and foremost, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Michael, what were you trying to say?
See, like pretty much what the others, but especially what Jacob and Mad Mistake have just said. That look, don't get me wrong. I understand people being skeptical because there's been a lot of people that have claimed to be in the know, and there's been a lot of people that have claimed to be in the know, and then ultimately it's ended up being bollocks now to it. Now, look, obviously. Phil's privy to the information, you know, that he tends to share with us. But obviously, you know, if this ends up being untrue, then fair enough. You know, give a stick for it. That's fair enough. But I just think people need to remember, you know, it infuriated me, quite frankly, when I saw people go, "Oh, you just do it for the views." Yeah, channel has got over 3,000 subscribers. Yeah, why would you do it for more views? You know, that didn't sit right with us. But in saying that, look, why does everyone have to have a go at each other? You know, look, if you believe it's not true, you believe it's not true, but be respectful about it. Like, don't go around and insult people over it. Like, what's good's that going to do? Why does everyone feel the need to do that? You know, now, if there's nothing to it, there's nothing to it. If it's true, it's true. At the end of the day, like the lads have said, we all want what's best for our club. So can we please stop this stupid bickering and turning on each other all the time?
There you go. Well said, Michael. Before we go to you, Mad Mistake, Dino wants to get in there.
It's the thing is though, like you did cause World War III on Twitter over just something you put out there. But the worst thing is, people start going personal. Like what Ray Philly does as a job, he's a DJ. He's a good one at that as well. He's a good
Shut up.
Good and stuff like that. But people were saying like, this is the bloke who like there's a DJ, but they were saying, why should we believe you? Like they were bringing personal. It was personal stuff. Like why should we believe someone who does this as a job? What? That's so irrelevant. It's irrelevant. And like you say,
Dino,
like,
do you want to be my PR manager?
But like, I mean, if you don't believe, I'm saying if you don't believe something, don't believe it. No need to go personal attacking about what someone does as a job or what they've done in the past. It's so irrelevant to the question at hand. You've put information out there, which might be true, but might not be true. You just, like you say, it's a source. You've got a source. Everyone's saying name the source, but you can't name the source because if you name the source when he's told you not to, you lose that source forever. Maybe down the line you can name the source, and then everyone can say, "Oh yeah, he was right." But the personal attack thing, I don't agree with. I think it's totally out of order. If you don't believe it, don't believe it. Simple as that.
Mad Mistake, you want in there?
My favourite sauce is ketchup. I love ketchup sauce.
Anyway, I was waiting for something like that.
I had a feeling that was coming.
If another fan group comes out, another fan group comes on Twitter or whatever and has like some information, I read it, I take it in, I digest it, and that's it. I forget about it. And I kind of think, why, I wish them all the best of the fan groups. I hope they are true information. And I have no I have no grievance with anybody. I don't hate anybody. And I wish all the other fan bases, other fan groups, all the best. At the end of the day, we all Sunderland fans. We all want the best for the club. And that's the bottom line, simple as.
Exactly.
Well said. Sean, do you want to move on? Have you got some more?
Yeah, I have, yeah. This is off Joe SEFC 2015 off Twitter. He says, what are our expectations for the season, and where can we realistically finish?
Can I go first?
Yeah, wait for me.
Up by Easter.
There you go. Oh God.
If
That's
I
me,
hear that
that's-
one more time,
Michael?
I'm the eternal optimist, and for me, we're still going to win the league. I would, we still got a team that in League One should be winning that league. Whether we'll be up by Easter, might be pushing it a bit, but I'm going for league champions.
Michael?
I really hope Phil's right. I can't take the
fingers crossed.
right. Okay. The expectation for Sunderland at the end of the day should be at minimum top 2. Not unless you win the playoffs, nothing less is good enough. And again, I've said it many times. I'm fed up with this argument that it's delusional and arrogant to expect that for a fan base that has watched a club underperform for the good part of a decade now, and one that really hasn't bothered to give anything back to the supporters. It's about time we had a successful season, and by that I mean getting promotion one way or another. Where I think we're going to finish at the minute, I think we'll finish about 5th or 6th. That's where I think we'll finish. Would I take that? No, not unless you can guarantee winning the playoffs. Yeah, I'm going to say we're going to finish 6th at the minute. But obviously, if we get off to a good start, if like the others have alluded to, with Will Grigg in particular, Aidan O'Brien, Will Grigg's got to start with the pun that I know I'm going to get. He's got to be on fire this year. He's got to. He's got to have, because we've spent 4 million on this bloke. He's got to start delivering in League One. For me, he is good enough. There's no excuse why he shouldn't do it in League One. Go out and prove that you can do it. If he does it well enough, Sunderland will have a very good chance of going up. So come on, just let this be our year, please. I don't care how we do it, just go up.
Dino?
Obviously, what you want is top 2. We don't want to go through playoffs like we have done. But realistically, I honestly don't think we'll get playoffs. There's just something about this team. I just think we'll lack creativity, we'll lack pace, we'll lack the striker. Like say Grigg's scoring, but then Grigg gets injured. Who comes in to score the goals? You've got that dilemma. You've got centre midfielders who don't really create much. I know Scowen scored a goal, which is good to see. I like to see me centre midfielders score goals, but I just don't like. If anything, the goalkeeping department's gotten worse because obviously you don't have John McLaughlin now. So you've got Lee Birch, who I still rate, but I don't think Remy Matthews is going to be the adequate number 2. Anthony Patterson's still too young. We haven't seen enough of him to say he's going to be the next big thing or he's not, which is worrying because obviously I'm guessing he's going out on loan.
Yeah, he's going
to. But we definitely need a recall back on him, like a recall clause, just in case Remy Matthews isn't good enough.
Yeah.
I just see so many holes in this team, which I'm just thinking. I think there's other teams. I mean, Peterborough's just spent 1.2 million on Clark Harris, and he ripped a new one again. He ripped a new one in the last game of the season against Bristol. So when they're making signings like that, they've just they're letting go of Tony and then bringing him in. Shows ambition, doesn't it? I mean, it's just I just feel like outside the top 6, unfortunately for me. Like.
My mistake?
7th place.
I'm the eternal optimist. I want to always see us win the league. I put money on us winning the league. I think our defense.
Oh God!
I've got a problem with the defense at all. The defense is great. I think the midfield, we have abundance in midfield players now. The question mark for me is the attacking lineup. Who's up front and who can supply the attackers? Obviously, with that ammunition. Elliot Embleton. If he stays fit, and that's the big question mark, we've got to keep this lad fit because he could be a star in the making. I saw a new Conor McLaughlin against Carlisle, the right wing back. I thought he was the best player on the pitch, man of the match in the first half. For me, absolutely fantastic as the right wing back. Now left-sided, is he not going to buy another left wing back now because Jack Diamond's being played there? We've got Denver Hume. Is he going to play Jack Diamond and not bother getting anybody else in there? So for me, I think the defence. Well, once the team gel together and are 100% fit, which I think they're way off the pace at the moment, The defence is great. The midfield is great. I'm just a bit worried about the attacking at the moment, but it's early days. But I'm going to go for it to win the league against all the odds, even though we are 7-1 favourites. We're 7-1 favourites to win the league.
I don't
And
know.
it's
how-
still
I love
against
where
all the
Matthew's got
odds.
that from, mind.
Yeah.
The
Jacob?
oldies stick together. The oldies are sticking together.
Based on the current squad we've got, no, I think we'll just scrape playoffs. But in my heart says we'll go up as top two. But I think it's all about what players we bring in. I still think there are a lot of gaps in the squad at the moment. I do think we have got a solid defence based on if we go through a season without many injuries to our defensive players. I think we'll be okay in that department. But I'm just not convinced about our midfield at the moment. We lack at least 2 creative midfield players in that side. We have too many central midfield players that play the same, just sit too deep with the ball, like don't go forward with the ball enough. But I'm going to make a prediction here. I think what I've seen from Dan Neil,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my fingers crossed. He could be our secret weapon this season. He looks really
He
really
looked really good, didn't he? He
Yeah.
looked really good, aye.
If we like show faith in him, like that he can potentially like. I don't think he'll like start games going into the beginning of the season, but like if we throw him on late, he could be just that player we need. Like
As I say, Jacob, if Gooch gets injured, I think Daniel will get his chance.
I think Dan, if Gooch gets, I don't wish injuries on any player, but I think Gooch will. Gooch will obviously start ahead of him at first, but if Gooch for some reason is dropped because he's not been playing well enough or gets injured and Dan Neil comes in, I think Dan Neil, if he plays like really well, he will potentially even keep Gooch out the side. I think he's that potential, like that hot spot for the future.
Just quickly, bad mistake trying to jump in there.
I think I'm 100% with Jacob. I think Dan Neil looks fantastic, but the only worry I've got was Stuart Donald still being here at the start of the season, and I have no faith in Phil Parkinson actually playing this lad at all next season. I think it'll be another Barley Mumba. I think at some point he won't even play Dan Neil next season. He'll be out the door. Someone will buy this lad, which is going to be an absolute criminal. And it's going to be awful if this lad goes. And I'll be absolutely gutted if this lad goes. But we have to get him playing, get him on the reserves, get him in the sides, because it's going to be like eventually it could be, you never know, world class. It could be that good, could be a superstar. There's always one comes through, Jordan Henderson, Jordan Pickford. Can Dan Neil be the third person to come out of this academy like this to be Premier League material? But we have to get this lad a chance in the side. But will Phil Parkinson and Stuart Donald give this lad a chance? I've got big doubts over this.
Yeah, it's a fair point what you make with what's gone on in the past with academy players. Quickly, Dino's trying to get in there before we go on to Michael.
I've got 2 questions, right? Well, one's about Daniel, and then I've got a question about the team. Daniel, we've got to calm down a bit. Don't forget he's played against Gateshead and Carlisle. That's the standard below where we are. So, he looks good. Don't get us wrong, but League One's totally different to League Two, and playing teams like Gateshead who are in non-league football. So let's not jump the gun. Let's not hype him up too much because you could put pressure on him straight away. I mean, that's what people do. They say, "Oh, Daniel, next big thing," and then all of a sudden, his confidence goes. He thinks he's better than what he is. Let's just ground him for now. Give him his chance. Hopefully, he plays well during the season. Second, lads, question for you is: do you believe that the team is better than it was last season?
Good question, man.
Can we come back to that in a sec? Because I think Michael has still got to give his where we're going to finish. Well, have you already done that?
It's me.
What I will come out with very quickly is, I've said where I think the team's going to finish. But one thing I want to say, Phil Parkinson needs to also, in games, if something's not going well, for the love of God, do not wait until the 80th minute to make changes. Don't wait and be reactive constantly and making changes all the time. That's one of my biggest bugbears about managers, when they seem scared to make. They start out and go, all right, we'll make changes at half time, we'll change things up, and then they gradually regress, and then they're scared to make subs. Parkinson's got to stop that. He's got to show he's got to show better tactics. He's got to show some, because I'm behind Phil Parkinson, but he's got to show better awareness when to bring players on.
All right, quickly,
What's,
Michael, if we can get back on track with the, because Sean was asking where we're going to finish. Sean, you go on.
Obviously, expectations, not being bigger, but we are the biggest team in this league by an absolute company mile. So, yes, of course, we should be winning the league. Where do I think we'll finish realistically with the squad? I think it's going to be a push at the playoffs. I don't think we've improved really much from last season, even if we have. So right now, with the signs we've made, I think if again the playoffs, which for me, I'm seeing this and it's wrong to seeing this. It's not acceptable. But if we're getting the playoffs with the squad we've got now, I think I would take it. But that's still not good enough for me. But we Southern Football Club, we shouldn't be settling for in the third tier of English football club, settling for a playoff place. That's, do you know what I mean? What's it all come to? Do you know what I mean? Like a club
Right,
decides to settle for a playoff.
Right, well,
for a playoff place. That's how.
Well, what I want to do, I want to give a couple of mentions on the chat. Then we'll go to Dino's question, and then I want to come back because there's another point I want to try and get in before we go tonight. First of all, Johnny Stone on the chat says, Dino, give us a wave. Dino, give us a wave. Well, give us a wave. Do it now. Do it now on cue.
No, I give them a wave. I give them a wave.
There you go. And also Casey Cameron Jude, who Michael gave a shout out to earlier, fan of the show, says Jack Diamond should definitely start next season. So that's their opinion. Dino, your question, you was asking us.
Yeah, do you believe that the team is better than last season?
Who wants to start?
Apart from one department.
Anyone can start.
I think Eric's going to start this one.
Wait, bad mistake. Go on.
We're weaker in the goalkeeping department. That's the area we're weak. I think the defensive department was just as good, if not better. Midfield, again, was just as good, if not better, because we'll have Elliot Embleton back, hopefully. And the attacking side of things, we're just the same. We've got Wyke, we've got Grigg, but now we have O'Brien, if he can put a few goals in. So I think we're no worse off apart from goalkeeping.
Right, Jacob, then?
I would say just on par as we were last season, but we desperately do need players to take us up to that next level, because at the moment, I think it's all playing that 3-4-3 system because it suits the players we have at the moment. But you have to remember, teams will tactically figure us out with that. They'll know how to play against that because they've watched us play with that effective formation we did towards the back end of last season. So we do need players that could potentially tweak things a little bit more and potentially find a formation that will help us score just as much goals as we did whilst playing the 3-4-3.
Sean, are we stronger this season than last season, or what?
Do you know what? I think it's about the same squad, really. I mean, we brought in Lafini, O'Brien. We'll have to see what them do, but I mean, I'm just looking at the teams that's come down as well. The three teams. You always look at the teams what's come down from the championship. So there's three good teams coming down. So that makes it harder to get, into the top six. That's why I'm basing me. When I said the question before about where we'll finish, was basically the teams that's coming down. So I think our squad is probably roughly the same. So that's why I probably take your hands off for a playoff place now, which it's still not acceptable, to be fair. But when you bring players in, it's as simple as that. But I think it's 3 weeks left of the window or a little bit more, and we've got to bring players in. We need to bring players in. And can you see Stuart Donald bringing players in? Will there be money any money spent? Definitely not. No way.
Can it?
It's all down to Parkinson to help improve what we've currently got at the moment. So the pressure's on him, but we have to show faith that he will do that at the moment as us fans.
Michael?
As far as the squad goes, I agree with that mistake. I think with the exception of goalkeeper, and bearing in mind, I think Lee Burge is a pretty good keeper anyway. I think that it's pretty much the same level of the squad. I think when you look at Lee Burge, like you said, in the games that he played, I didn't think he put a foot wrong. I think that if the defense takes, I know your last line of defense is the goalkeeper, but when your defense is there to stop it getting to the goalkeeper. So if the defense does their job properly, that shouldn't matter too much for me.
Good point. Yeah.
Obviously the midfield. Yeah, look, we've had our debates on the midfield. Elliot Embleton comes in. I think he could be a missing ingredient that we've been looking for. Striking wise, I've said it and I'm sticking to it. I think that the likes of Griggs should be delivering in this league. O'Brien has played 83 times in the Championship in the last 3 years. Obviously, the big issue is whether we get injuries. And that's what Dino's mentioned in the past. I actually do agree. If we get a couple of injuries, then we can be really in trouble here. As far as what Sean said about the teams coming down, though, you got to remember, Wigan have lost Kiefer Moore. They've lost Jamal Lowe. And Wigan are in pretty deep trouble at the minute. Disgracefully, by the way, in deep trouble. The other two, Charlton and Hull, depends how they... With Lee Boyer at the helm, Charlton have got every chance. Hull should have a squad good enough. It just depends. It depends how the team apply themselves almost every week. Because last season, I think it's the same. The squad level is about the same as last season. And for me, the reason last season we didn't get in the playoffs was a couple of the reasons. One, because of that running before Christmas, and two, because we didn't bother to beat Gillingham or Bristol Rovers, two teams that we should have been beaten really if we had any ambitions last season. And bearing in mind, just quickly, that was a team. And I'm not bragging about this like it's an achievement because it isn't. But people saying this squad is absolutely horrendous. Last season, that team went from about 15th after Boxing Day and managed to get themselves within 3 points of second since then. Now, Phil Parkinson, again, also has to take responsibility in games and not be so stubborn. And again, like Jacob said, if a team is tactically figuring this out, be proactive, change it. Don't just wait until things go to the pot to actually do anything. Sorry, I'll stop there.
Right, Dino?
The fact is, right, everyone says it's just the same. That's a bad thing. That's being the same is not good because everyone's improving. You know, it's like it's in the Premier League when the champions, like the team who wins the league, they don't normally change anything, but all the other teams improve and then they go further down the pecking order. So to say that we're just the same is a bad thing. So that because we weren't good enough to get in the playoffs this season, I know COVID obviously affected that, but.
Whoa.
What?
No, you're saying
we still need players though. I'm still saying we need to add to that squad. The transfer window is still open. Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
it's all right, Jacob. I was only waving my hands to try and get in, but you just jump in there, steamroller in, say what you got to say. That's fine. That's fine.
You meant to be nice to the birthday boy.
Oh yeah, but I thought we had a system on here, so we didn't all shit over each other. I get what you're saying about. It's not a good thing saying we're standing still, but I firmly believe the team we had last season was good enough to go up, and had we not hit the COVID thing, I certainly think would have definitely made the playoffs and would have had a decent chance of going up. Michael, I know you're waving to get in there.
Right,
Just quickly as you can, because I want to get one final thing in before we go. Go on.
Like I said, with Sean said about he would take the playoffs for this team, I only would if you won them. Otherwise, there's no point and there's no point bothering. What I would say is if Sunderland play this properly, we could take advantage of a situation where a lot of other clubs have lost their best players, and a lot of other clubs, and we haven't lost any, apart from John McLaughlin, we haven't really lost anyone that was deemed key to the side last year. Look, hopefully we'll do it. But again, the team needs to apply itself properly.
Cheers, Michael. Thanks for making that quick. Just very quickly, Mad Mistake, go on, because you're trying to get in. I've got to get this point in before we leave. Go on.
It isn't just the same. We've got Diamond, we've got Neil, we've got Wright, we've got Embleton, and also Taylor's a year older. He could be a great defender. It isn't just the same. We've got young players coming through who are a lot better this season than last season. There we go.
Right. Right. Very quickly, Jordan Scott on the chat says, if we get Terry's optimism in the team, we'll win by a country mile. Fair point. Right. Before we do go, I want to quickly chuck in. It's been all over social media this week about John Cook being made redundant. The kit man has been with the club for years and years. What?
83 or something, sorry, 85 or something.
I mean, it's just, and then being made redundant. Now, for me, I want to put it to you all quickly. If he has been made redundant, as far as I'm aware, if you make someone redundant, you can't fill that position. I think it's for 6 months. Now, you can't tell me, right, that a football club doesn't need a kit man. You need a kit man. So, and if he has been made redundant, then they can't really by law fill that position, or you know, they're going to have to create some sort of a position. So one, I want your thoughts on him being made redundant, if that is actually true. And two, what do you think the solution is then to not having a kit man? Dino, do you want to start with us quick with that? Try and make it brief, lads.
Yeah, it's shocking because he's been there since '83 or something. Like when Mickey Gray missed the penalty, he was there. Do you know what I mean? And to make a kit man redundant, I mean, the kit man, obviously he's just the kit man, but he's need to make sure everyone's got the kits. So basically what he's saying is Stuart Donald's saving more money by not paying a kit man. So that means all the football players are going to have to take all the shirts home, all the training kit, and wash them themselves just to save a bit of money. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
That won't happen. Mad Mistake.
It's shocking. Let's face it. Every pub football team in the world, even the Two Dogs Shagging pub down the road, has a kit man. So why on earth we laying out kit man off? It's ridiculous. Players taking their own kit home, to wash their own kit. How weird, man! It's ridiculous. John Cook's been there for years. It's absolutely shocking. If he's being treated this way, Stuart Donald, just piss off now. Absolutely shocking. If this is what's happened, it's absolutely disgraceful from Stuart Donald.
Let me quickly jump in because David Walker on the chat says that Nick Barnes says he's furloughed and still furloughed. So again, we're only going on what we've seen. We can't confirm he has been made redundant, but I'm just saying we're saying hypothetically if that is true. Jacob, try and keep it brief.
Yeah,
even though it's your birthday.
Absolute disgrace. I've got a friend of mine that knows John Cook, and honestly, he's the nicest person. Every time the players come back onto the bus, if there's fans waiting for autographs, he always try and potentially get some signed gear for all the fans who are waiting outside the bus. Just an absolute asset. And if he's let go, it's horrible. It just shows like that with the ownership situation at the moment, they do not care. And also, he was an ex-player for the club as well back in the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah. So he just loves the club through thick and thin. John Cook, honestly, what a man. And the fact, if he's been on the it's just terrible, honestly.
Right. It's looking very much like, because the live chat's going mad now, saying he's not left, he's still under furlough. So again, that would seem to be the popular opinion on that.
If he's left.
But again, so we're commenting on it's looking like he's still furloughed. But Mike, well, let Michael in first, Mad Mistake, and then go on.
Well, basically, you know, when you said like legally by law that, you know, Stuart Donald can't fill that position. Yeah, but there's a lot of things Stuart Donald shouldn't have done, but that he's basically said, screw this, I'm going to do it anyway. Like in the club with the parachute money. So there you go. But if this is true and it has happened, it just stinks of Stuart Donald trying to save money all over. I can't top what the other guys have said. Absolutely disgrace. If it has happened, and hopefully it hasn't, but if it has happened, that's an absolute disgrace. It just shows Stuart Donald's true colours once again. Prick. There you go.
Right. Well, again, people are saying apparently it's correct with the 6 months. You can't fill that role for 6 months, but you get around it by changing the name of the position. Quickly, Mad Mistake. Then we'll go on to Sean.
John Cook should be given a pay rise. He should be given a season card for life at Sunderland. He should be given a box for life at Sunderland Association Football Club. You know what I mean? So hopefully it's not true. It's only furlough. When he comes back, Stuart Donald, give this bloke a bloody pay rise.
Right, Sean?
Oh, hopefully the new owner gives him a pay rise.
See, it's just reported. So, you know, thankfully hopefully it's not true. Because if it is, it's a disgrace. I mean, the bloke's been there years. Show a bit of loyalty and show a bit of, you know. But with Stuart Donald, nothing surprising. But you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Stuart Donald brought one of his mates up from Eastleigh to cover today's job, you know, after the 6 months. But hopefully it's not true, and you know, he's still.
Well, like I said, again, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves with that. It's and that just goes to show what happens on social media. You know, it somebody says something. Everybody gets hold of it, and then before you know it, it's gospel. And there you go. We've maybe even slightly fallen into the trap there. But anyway, hopefully it's just furloughed. And at the end of the day, you need a kit man. Fellas, that just about wraps it up this week. So thanks. I think you've all been amazing. Before we do go, we've got to once again say happy birthday to Jacob, who's 14 this week. Yeah, well done.
Excuse me.
Can I
I'm
just
not
say,
still in puberty, Phil. Come on.
He's the baby of the channel.
The Ben.
Jacob, where's your Tottenham Hotspur tattoo this week?
Excuse me.
Arsenal, man.
All right. Look,
Oh,
thanks very much for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, thank you to all the birthday
uh,
messages.
Thanks for you if you've taken part in the chat. We didn't get to you. We do apologize. We'd love to see you back again next week when we do it all over again. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. It is free to do that. Leave us a comment, like the video if you will, and we will see you next week. But the last shout out goes to Christopher Jones on the live chat, who said, can we all give him a big wave? So we'll see you.
Hey.
Staro.
He is-
There you go then.
Just do that.
Wave after wave.